Well, the first thing I like to do to check the calibration across the entire span of the neck is to play the same chords in different positions. Now that I'm on the home stretch with this Les Paul Standard that Jason had dropped off last week, I thought I would just go stem to stern and show you exactly what was done to this guitar. The reason Jason showed up was he couldn't keep it in tune. He saw a bunch of my videos and decided to contact me, and he showed up last week to drop this off to get the full compensated nut and full calibration end to end. So starting at this end, both of these posts were wrapped, and they are now rock solid. There's no jiggling or wiggling. You got to remember, when you wrap this post, the ground wire to the cavity goes to this post, so don't wrap it in Teflon tape. This was wrapped in Teflon tape. This one, you want to wrap it in very thin, two-sided aluminum tape, the type of tape you use for wrapping heating ducts. Also, these two bridge posts were wrapped in Teflon tape. No wiggling, no jiggling, everything's rock solid, of course. And of course, both pickups were covered while we did the fret dress. As often happens, that neck pickup had to be removed to dress those upper frets. I wrapped the pickup in foam and then put it in this Ziploc baggie and gently place it aside to make sure you don't get any filings in the pickup magnets. As you can see, everything is protected while we do this job. So the frets were leveled initially with a single cut fine mill bastard file that I mount on a handle. These are the files I send out in the fretting kits. Once that initial leveling was done, it was followed up with 400, 600, 800, 1200 grit paper, and then buffed out with a buffing wheel and compound, and then the fingerboard was cleaned up with 4-0 steel wool. The original nut was carefully removed, and of course we're going for a compensated nut. It's one of the reasons that Jason dropped the guitar off in the first place. That is our blank, but something I want to explain about this. Very important with Gibson guitars that you get a good press fit on the nut, because the head itself flexes up under string load and butts up against the nut, and that in turn butts up against the end of the fingerboard. So it's part of the structural integrity of the Les Paul. I currently have 3 Gibson neck surgeries on the go, and the 335 I have of the broken headstock that broke 3 times previously. You'll see that in one of the upcoming videos. The reason that 335 broke so easily again the 3rd time was the nut. There was a big gap between the nut and the edge. Just wanted to point that out. This model of Les Paul has that soft plastic inlay, so that's why that was all covered up. All right, time to strip it down and get on to the final calibration. Bridge and tailpiece are nice and solid. Those pickups are adjusted for maximum response. Not too close to pull the strings out of tune, but close enough to get that famous Les Paul tone. Now we can bring it into the studio and let you really hear this thing. Perfectly in tune, no less. It doesn't happen very often, but every once in a while the nut will need negative values, and that is the case here. Now I understand perfectly why Jason was going out of his mind trying to tune this guitar. And you will hear precisely how in tune this guitar is now. For all of you who are regulars on my channel, you've certainly seen this before. Both of those cavities were padded to get the pickups to line up with the string path. All right, here we go. Final calibration. We will go into the studio in a second and play some chords. So I'm going to let that play. play through this chord progression slowly. First chord's G major 7 over E. Then F sharp minor 7 over C sharp. And then D major 9. So I'll just blow over top of this thing. It's kind of like a B minor, D major thing. It's always those first position chords. Well, not anymore.